Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Webinar Wednesday, NIFA's virtual series specifically designed for Nebraska's communities and housing partners. Today, our topic is nebraska.findhelp.com, connecting Nebraskans to services. My name is John Turner. I'm the Partner and Program Development Manager at the Nebraska Investment Finance Authority. Also joining me from NIFA is Joe Spitzen, Program and Education Coordinator, and he'll be behind the scenes managing the chat and questions. Our presenters today are Roger Stremming and Yaciel Caballero from FindHelp. Before we get started, I wanted to remind everyone that mortgage and utility assistance are available for homeowners in Nebraska. If you or someone you know needs help, please go to nebraskahalf.com to apply for the Nebraska Homeowner Assistance Fund. So this webinar is being recorded and it's going to be available on our YouTube channel at NIFA Housing. We have a whole bunch of great webinars that are on that channel. You can also find a link to our YouTube channel on our website, nifa.org, under Community Development, Trainings, and Webinars. So nebraska.findhelp.com. Before I kick it over to our panelists, I just kind of wanted to give everyone a little bit of a background about NIFA's partnership with FindHelp. NIFA became familiar with FindHelp a few years ago during the floods of 2019 when it was under the name Aunt Bertha. We are always interested in statewide online resources that we can utilize when working with our partners and customers that can be customized to our industry. Over time, we also learned that FindHelp has a unique way to make and track referrals to supportive service agencies. This referral process got us thinking. We have our low-income housing tax credit properties throughout Nebraska that provide supportive services. We thought perhaps the property managers at these locations can benefit from this resource so they are knowledgeable about what services their community has. And through this site, they can actually track the referrals that they make for their tenants. Referrals such as food boxes, utility assistance, rental assistance, basic needs, and much more. So we worked with FindHelp to build a customized site specifically for Nebraska that also includes housing development resources for communities. Through this site, NIFA can run reports to see what services are being referred to. We can look at what gaps there might be in communities, and we can work with property managers to increase the successful outcomes of tenants throughout Nebraska. Now that we have begun to build this platform with FindHelp, we plan to discuss this program during the upcoming qualified allocation plan sessions for the low-income housing tax credit program. We are also exploring the addition of housing units to the site, which you'll hear more about today. So the moment you've been waiting for, I'm going to hand it over to Yaciel and Roger. Thank you, guys.
Well, thank you so much, John. I really appreciate that intro. Yeah, I think you really hit all of the highlights there. So hello, everyone. Hope everyone is having a good Wednesday. My name is Roger Strimming, and like John said, I am a community engagement manager here for FindHelp. So very shortly, what that means is that I work with some of our partners like NIFA to connect out to the community and help build those bridges. So really help create those lines, those lanes to funnel assistance from connecting on the site to the endpoint where ideally people in our community are getting help. So let me share my screen real quick. The joys of Google, everybody cross your fingers and toes. All right, I think we're good. Yes, and thank you, Joe, for mentioning that. If anybody has any questions, I'm going to be running through who FindHelp is, what we do, what our partnership here with NIFA looks like, and then I'll be walking through how to use the site and some of the features that we've got. So if you guys have any questions at all, please feel free to just drop them in the chat for everyone to see. Or if you have a more specific question, you can also use the Q&A feature. So I have that pulled up. If you see me looking this way, I have a second monitor. So I'll be reading those as they come in. We also have John and Joe from NIFA answering questions, and of course my colleague Yaciel, also from FindHelp. So ideally, thank you for linking it out. If anyone wants to play at home, feel free to follow the link. All right, so let's get connecting. So, like I said, what are we doing here today? First and foremost, I want to introduce you to FindHelp. Like John said, we used to be called Aunt Bertha. Some of you might know us by that name. But I'm just going to introduce you to who we are, what we do, and how we do it. And then we're going to take a look at nebraska.findhelp.com and really walk through what it is, how you can use it, both at work, connecting either your tenants or your, whoever you're helping, whatever your organization is, and then talk about some of the tools that you can utilize on the site as well. So let's open up. Here at FindHelp, we are a very mission-driven company. We are a B Corp, which is a benefits corporation. We're for-profit, but we offer a public good. And in this case, it is our free network of resources that we make available for the public. That is our public good. And our mission is to connect all people in need with the programs that serve them with dignity and with ease. So this is really, I mean, it's a little corny, but this is the heart of what we do. And this is the goal that we strive to hit with everything that we do. So if you all have worked with the public, I really think that this resonates on a level with everybody. Personally, my background, I used to be a librarian. I was a librarian by training. And so I was the guy who was helping connect my patrons with community resources. And this statement, "it is too hard to navigate the system," rings very true, especially as someone who had to use a lot of Google, had to use the old, maybe 5-year-old blue folder that was under the front desk at the library forever. What we often see is that we have people, right? We have a lot of people who need help, and we have programs, all kinds of community offerings that are there to serve and provide assistance, right? But to get from point A to point B is often this really tangled web. And so what FindHelp's mission is, like I said, to connect people with dignity and ease. Our goal is to streamline that process. And so we do that by creating this open and accessible network where people can kind of do one-stop shopping, right? Where you search by your zip code and you can find local services that meet a broad variety of your social needs, right? Food, housing, even medical care, daycare, legal assistance, all of that kind of stuff, all in one place where you can help really search and find all of this together. So this is a look at findhelp.org. That's sort of the mothership. So I'll talk about it here in just a little bit, but we have what's called the no wrong door policy. Our network is this really broad nationwide network. But at the same time, we really highlight and try to find and connect with these local organizations, just like yours, where when people are searching in your area, they are finding local resources, right? Alongside maybe some state programs that help, maybe some nationwide programs that can help, but we want to make it both, broad in terms of what they can find, but also very deep in terms of the sort of local programs that are going to be able to provide that instant help, right? Right now, we have over 1,300 programs in every county in the United States. And like I said, we list those in sort of 3 tiers. So there is the local programs, the state programs, and the nationwide programs. And the way our algorithm works, if you're familiar with that term from any kind of search engine, we always try to highlight local programs where we can, barring that, try to find some state programs that are probably going to be a better fit. And then if nothing else, at least be able to push them towards some nationwide programs. So some of the benefits of using FindHelp.org. Like I've mentioned a couple of times, our network is open, secure, and free, right? So if I am looking for help for myself, if I'm looking for help for my family, I can log in, I can put in my zip code, and I can be finding all kinds of information on, food pantries, addiction services, domestic violence services, you name it. And I can find all of those things without having to put in my name, without having to put in emails, any kind of info other than a zip code, without being tracked. So without having to pay any sort of fee to see the information. We are open, we are available 24/7. And all of this really just works to show that we want to put this in the hands of people when they need it, right? Let me take a sip of coffee real quick. Does anyone have any questions? Because this is usually where we start running into a little bit of questions around any of this. I don't want to, I'm going kind of fast, so I want to make sure to pause for anybody. I should mention, does this store? That is an excellent question. Thank you, Darla. We had a question in the Q&A about, does this store search history? Talking about my comment on like domestic violence help. No, it does not store search history. We believe in anonymous searching, and we believe in allowing people to kind of do this kind of research for free, both in terms of money and information. I can speak to my experience a little bit because, like I mentioned, I'm a librarian by training. And the way we had it set up was we had several layers where people could either take a QR code from the library that had our local site. We had access through our public computers that we marketed and highlighted. And we also had a kiosk where if people didn't want to search for it on their own phone or ask the librarian for a guest pass or anything, that they could access it through this kiosk. And none of that search is recorded or like kept even locally. There's no real tracking since the only information you're entering is the zip code. So kind of double layer. There's no like keeping any of that. And if we are, we'll talk about this a little bit later, but there's a way for us to send referrals, either personally or as an organization to send referrals on behalf of someone. And we have some ways to kind of protect people in sensitive situations like that, where if you know that you don't want an organization to reach out to someone, i.e. domestic violence situations, we have baked in some protections for people, even if we are sending referrals for people, to protect them in situations like that. So wonderful question. I hope that answered it. And I will definitely talk more about it as we go on. So question about the resources up to date. Appreciate, yeah. Yastiel is probably going to type all of this out, but just a good, how do we keep this up to date, is kept up to date by sort of 3 different things all at once. The organizations themselves can claim their listings and then make sure that's kept up to date. FindHelp actually has a curation team. It's about 1/3 of our total company size. And the curation team actually does keep track of the data on a rolling basis, where they will actually double check, like, even if it's just give that organization a call and say, hey, we're FindHelp. It says you're open Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday from 9 to 9. Is that correct? Yes, great. Then that's up to date. But just trying to keep some of that up to date. And then finally, I'll show you when we get into the site, anybody can suggest changes, and that goes directly to our curation team. So if this was actually funny, we were doing a demo earlier with the Nebraska.FindHelp, and we were kind of checking out everything, making sure it was doing okay. And we noticed a spelling error, right? I don't know if it was something that was pulled from the internet incorrectly or just, human error when it was getting entered, but it was just a misspelling. So we actually suggested a change right then and there. And within 48 hours, it's corrected. So, and that can be about literally anything on the card. So I'll show you guys how that works. So we'll make sure that gets mentioned. So, well, great questions. Anything else before we dive deep into the bowels of Nebraska.FindHelp.com? That sounded a little ominous. I'm a little late for the Halloween vibe. I apologize. All right. So again, if anything comes up, any questions, comments, concerns, please feel free to drop them in the chat. Use our Q&A. I love having being able to answer real questions in real time. So I believe, yes, Yasiel has dropped it in the chat. So if anybody wants to play along at home, you are more than welcome to. You can either click that link in chat, or you can go to Nebraska.FindHelp.com. And shameless plug, you should bookmark it while you're here. This is FindHelp.com. Sorry, we got a question about .com or .org. This is Nebraska.FindHelp.com. Our sort of mothership, we have another site called FindHelp.org. You can also get there by FindHelp.com. All of the information, we have different partners. You might have heard of us through like Healthy Blue Nebraska, Nebraska Total Care. We have other partners who have these sort of different branded sites. The information provided is all the same because it's all the same network. Because the network is free. The network is available at FindHelp nationwide for free. We create these sort of custom branded sites, and we'll talk a little bit about why NIFA and us have partnered and what makes it so neat, and sort of the value that we can do with as far as like the properties, right? Adding properties, being able to search up. We'll dive into it. I'm soft. I'm doing the soft open here. So once you go to the site, this is what you're going to see. The main thing you're going to want to kind of highlight here is this zip code search. Again, highlighting does not require name, does not require email. It is simply a zip code search. I also do want to shout out, we now have some crisis language here on the front of the site. So that if someone is in a crisis situation where they need assistance now, we are highlighting the new 988 to try to get them to a suicide lifeline immediately, right? Also want to highlight that this page and any page that we talk about, anything on our site, can be translated. And we have a list. It's a pretty big, it's over 100 and something languages. I can't speak to the overall translation quality of all of these, obviously, but it is available and is a really great tool if you want to help somebody search in their native language, right? So if you want someone to do a little more self-directed search, you can actually translate it and then sort of turn it over to them so that they can search on their own. So let me We'll do a little bit of chat participation. Anybody got a good zip code for me? The first response doesn't win anything except my appreciation. Thank you. 68112. Teresa Dixon. And we are in Omaha. Thank you. I appreciate that. So when you do a zip code search, this is what it'll pull up for you. And you can see here, this header bar is unique. NIFA has helped craft this into some more of the pressing needs. You can see, first and foremost, housing needs, right? Then we also have food, gets into health and wellness, education, transportation, the things that people need the help with the most, right? No surprises here. Each of our major sections here also have all of these sort of subheadings, right? So you can see under housing, there's help find housing, help pay for housing, supportive emergency shelter, help buying a home, all kinds of really good stuff. And if you click any of these, it'll actually do a search immediately for this, this keyword. You can also, if you come up here, if say, you know, you've looked around Omaha enough, you can also come up here and search for another zip code if you want to change locations. Or you can just type in a keyword and do a search that way. So I actually just typed in housing here. Location for utility help. We've got a question in the Q&A for utility help. That's a good suggestion. And this is going to not really surprise anyone. We are in the very early days. This is just launched live. I believe it was last month. I don't remember the exact date, but it is still very new. This is a living, breathing sort of thing. So as we get in and we find, oh, interesting. Okay. As we find these that are, you know, really pressing and we see a lot of people looking for, these are things we can add. So I really appreciate, okay. Yeah, I think that's something that we'll definitely look at. I appreciate that. So when we do a search, so I typed in housing for just a general keyword, right? So it's going to work like any kind of search engine where it's going to try to find a good match for that name, as well as trying to find services that are primarily serving just your area, right? So you can see here, Nala House Community Housing. There's also the public housing program through the Omaha Housing Authority. You can scroll down and see that there's several options, right? And you get into like senior housing. Each one of these boxes are what we call a program card. So you can see the name here is the name of the program. And for our property managers, what our plan is with NIFA is to begin listing individual properties through the site here. So that way, when someone is searching, you know, help find housing, that they are seeing a lot of this, especially the reduced cost or, you know, eligibility sort of housing available, that they're seeing this available here, all one-stop shop, right? That's the goal, is sort of just one website that's taking care of all of these needs all at once. But you can see the name of the program or the property, the organization who is operating that right here. And then Oh, thanks, John. Yeah. Um, I'll try to read the questions in full instead of just summarizing them. Appreciate that. You'll see the organization that's running it. If it's a property, you'll see, the appropriate, housing, like in this one, the housing authority, and then you'll get a description of what it is, right? So you'll have the full description, and then a few different tags as far as, what kind of housing this is, or, if it's under food, is it emergency food? Is it a food pantry? These are the related keywords. So in any sort of thing like this, you'll be able to see what, in a bit more descriptive way, what the services they're providing are. You also see here that it says who they are actually servicing. And then additionally, if you click here, you'll see more info. And all of this is really detailed information about this program, right? So a longer description, is it free or reduced cost? What languages do they provide? Links out if they have website, if they have social media, anything like that. Coverage area, as well as, if there's any locations available for people, that you can find it all there. From here, you can also share this out. You see here that this actually has a print view. So if you're sharing this with someone who might not have internet access, you can actually print it out here, and then be able to physically hand them all of this information. But if someone is able, you can also share it to them directly here. And this is the only time that we're going to ask for any kind of information. So is if you're sending a referral out to make contact with this organization, or if you're sharing it. So in this situation, if I want to send an email, I put my name and email, and then who it's going to, a message, and then I can choose the recipient's language. So if I need to translate that email for them to more easily understand, I can do that right here. I can also send a text in a similar way. And then if I wanted to, I could also just post it on Facebook. So it pops open a tab. So that is the quick search. I mentioned here that, you can see who this is serving. You can see some of the service tags, and there's a ton of filters you can apply to your search. If you are searching for, if you're helping someone in particular, right? So personal filters are for if it's someone who you're helping and they have very specific, they're in a very specific group. So for instance, different age groups. So like we saw there was senior housing. If we are searching for senior housing, you can actually apply a filter to only show results that specifically are serving seniors. You can also choose veteran status, citizenship, all sorts of education, disability, employment level, housing status is interesting. If they're survivors of any sort of violence or cancer, are they in a crisis situation? It really does help to kind of apply some of these filters, especially if you're working with someone who has, some of these very specific needs and very specific experiences. So you can also search by program filters, and this is a little more, so if personal is who you're helping, program is a little bit more like, I want to kind of filter what I'm looking for. So maybe I'm searching for someone in a crisis, and, I want to send somebody there now, right? I can actually, if I'm looking for myself, I want to be able to go there right now. So I can click, visit. and it'll actually break it down like how close am I right now, and then also are they open now. So you can break down cost. If I can't even pay reduced cost, I can click that. And then as far as languages, this shows, I've searched housing, and these are the results for the different languages that the programs have mentioned themselves. So there's all of that. I can also input my current income and household status, which helps answer. Some organizations have, as you might imagine, specific eligibility as far as programs go. So entering this in here can help answer some of those, so I don't have to do it, one at a time. All right. Questions, comments, and concerns. I think there was a question in the Q&A about the help pay for utilities was the question. And I believe we found it. There's help pay for utilities, which I think counts under money. So we got that answered. I know that's a major one, and if there's any other questions or anything you specifically wanted to see for this part. Let me take a sip of coffee. Oh, thank you, Steve. Okay. Steve says that the help pay for utilities is under housing. So any other questions while we're here? Cool. Oh, okay. So yeah, before we, Jenna, I see it's under money. Okay, well, Yasiel, can you take that and put in the general chat the link so that we can see that. Heather asks, how easy is it to get information updated if your organization is on here? Why, it's very easy. Sorry if that sounded, too Billy Mays, but it is very simple. So let me show you up here in the top right corner. You might have noticed we have a few buttons. So we have support, sign up, and log in. So our support, this button is really handy. And if you have any more questions, honestly, after today, I really suggest just going here to the support page. It's been recently retooled. It's more of a sort of a wiki format where there's a bunch of like commonly asked questions, support articles, helpful videos, all kinds of good stuff. It really explains who we are, what we do, and as you're kind of getting started with it, we actually have a great learning hub, which we can share out as a resource. Let me show you the sign up page. So if you've never interacted with the site before, this is where you'll want to go. And like I mentioned, all of the stuff that I just showed you all as far as searching, getting information, all of that can be done without creating an account. However, I will say, if you work at an organization, either in a housing authority, which we'll talk about a little more specifically, because we'll be listing your properties and then helping you guys get trained. If you work in an organization, a community organization that works with people, highly recommend creating an account. It's free. The only real cost, if you will, is this information here. And to create the account, we need your first, last name, your email, a username if you want to use one, and a password. And then obviously you can choose, you can read the terms and policy. And if you're working for an organization, I suggest searching to help other people. So all of that to be said, highly recommend if you're an organization. There's a lot of tools, free tools that are available to you if you're an organization using it. Again, totally free, totally up to you how much you use it. But it does allow both seekers and other organizations to be able to send referrals to you. So you can kind of keep track of who's getting sent to your organization. You can track the status of those referrals. And then additionally, you can keep all that information up to date. So let me go to log in real quick. And I'm going to do this. Bump, bump, bump. So I'm going to go back to our front page. So okay. So I'm going to go back to our front page, and here you'll notice when I've signed in that it comes up with my name now since I'm signed in, and then it will give you a few more options here. And then you can also see some things down here. So if you are a community organization and you'd like to go ahead and claim your program, highly recommend. And when I say claim, what that means is that you basically raise your hand and say, hey, this is my program. I work here. I'm going to be responsible for taking care of it. And like I said, when you claim it, you can keep updating all that information. But we also have a lot in the working on our side, both in terms of our curation team that just does this on a rolling basis, but we also have people in the community that are keeping it up to date. So if no one in your organization has heard of this or done this before, at the bottom of the page, there's a button here that says claim program. And this is where you're going to want to start. So when you click claim programs, this is on the footer of any page you're on. So you can actually get there even from our search pages and everything. I just like to do it from the main page. And what it'll do is you can search for, you can search for your organization or your program name, your zip code. And then it's going to try and find that program or that organization. So when you scroll down here, obviously I went very broad because, I don't work at a Salvation Army or anything, but you can kind of see it's going to try to pull a relevant thing. And then for the organization, like say, hey, this is me, this is where I work. You'll just simply click the claim button. And if you've already created your account, it'll just put in a little ding to our curation team to double check. If you have a work email that has the domain, of your organization, would highly recommend using that. Again, this is for if you're in a community organization that's serving the public directly. For our property managers in the audience, don't worry, we've got you. You guys are a little bit of a special case. So we're going to be working with you all directly, getting your programs, your properties added, and then getting you some training on how you're going to work that into helping people find not only housing, but then using it also as a platform to help connect people to these resources. So so if you're if you're a community organization, claims is where you're going to want to go. Let me go back one. And if anybody would like, I don't know that I can talk to everybody. Oh no. Yasiel, if you would, could you drop, I'm missing the, can you drop the claims in the main chat? Zoom is not, me and Zoom go way back, and it doesn't seem to let me talk to everybody in the chat all at once. So apologies for that. If I'm gonna, we'll link the claims page if you're interested in that. If you need any assistance, of course, well, I'll provide my info at the end. But perfect, Leslie. That's what we love to see. Thank you so much. That's awesome. And it really, you know, I can sit up here and say, hey, this is really easy. But yes, so John, help us. Oh, thank you, Joe. Appreciate it. But really, so once you get in and claim, it sends a little ding to our curation team. They'll double check that you are who you say you are, and just like that, they'll okay you and you'll be in. So once you get the okay, you'll be able to see like my program tools, people I'm helping. So this is a very brief touch on all of this. We actually we'll link them in the follow-up, but FindHelp actually has a monthly sort of learning series. We call them our 101 and 201 that goes through all of this information. And our 201 specifically talks about a lot of the tools that are available. So for community organizations that claim, we have a bunch of abilities. So a bunch of tools that are available, easy for me to say, and in addition to analytics, in addition to all kinds of cool stuff. So we'll link all that in the follow-up to this. But to look at this very briefly, this is a page called Inbound Referrals, and I can actually see a couple of these are our demo programs, right? Just a couple that we have to make sure that this is how we, so we don't send referrals out to actual programs and confuse everybody. So let's look at the housing authority relevantly, right? So what this page is, these are the referrals that are coming in to the organization I work at, right? So I work at this demo housing authority, and these are the people that are getting recommended to us, right, through our site, either from that they're searching on their own, or from, say other housing authorities, other organizations, all that good stuff. So you can see here who's inquiring, you can see who is referred by, if they've filled out any screeners or forms, if there's any kind of eligibility requirements, that can be filled out straight as they're sending the referral. And then this is actually how we keep track of sort of where they're at in the process. And you can see here, if we're waiting on the client to do something, we can mark it as sort of pause. But then there's also green, big thumbs up, green check marks. Hey, they got help. And then also, it is nice to be able to mark, if, hey, you all referred this person to us and we just never were able to get a hold of them, we're able to mark that, right? And there's all kinds, we can sort by the different statuses. So, depending on your workflow, you can set them in different ways. There's a lot of potential there to kind of make this work the way that your organization needs it to, right? And fit in with whatever it is that you're doing already. This is a tool, and it is as broad or as deep as you want to make it for your organizations. So That's sort of what it looks like on the referral side. Again, apologies. I know that this is sort of a breakneck pace, a couple of these. But I also wanted to highlight two things. So when we do our searches, I'm going to go back here all the way back to the beginning, and I'm going to do a zip code search again. I'm going to go up to, let's help find housing, right? So here on the main page, there is something a little bit different we can do now that I'm signed in. There's the star button was here already, but it works a little bit differently now that I'm signed in. So if I want to save this program to my favorites, I can click this button and it'll let me add this to what we call a favorites folder. So if I click the drop down here, you can see I have a couple of personal ones, food programs, housing ones, and then I can also share these folders with, say teams, right? So if I'm working with a few different people and we want to make sure that we have the same list of preferred programs, they can all go in the same folder. We can be pulling from that same one. And it's like everything else, it's part of the network. It's updated in real time. So if it's not in a separate sort of world. So if something gets changed, either by like we've talked about with by the organization, by a suggestion, it gets updated everywhere all at once. There's no having to update your favorites folders separately or anything like that. So I can choose if I want to save it in a folder. I can always create a new folder right here, and I can hit save. No support, no support. No offense to them, but I'm not going to save them in my favorites. But if I go up here to my name, you'll see that the top result or top option here is saved favorites. And if I click save favorites, it's going to take me to my favorites folders. And again, you can see my food programs, my housing programs, and my shared folder of just some demo programs. So again, there's no limit. These are honestly one of my favorite parts of our network. You can create your account and you can create as many folders as you want. So if you're serving different, say age groups, right? If you're resources for teenagers or young adults, you can have them in a separate folder, maybe senior services in a separate folder. Or if you're working with different disabilities, maybe you can separate out folders for them. The sky's the limit. It is up to you and what your organization needs the most. But what these really serve to do is just put all of the things, all of the places that you're already sending people, really helps to just narrow them down to one page. And what I can do is I can share this folder. And again, it's like sharing an individual program, right? Where I can share it as a link. I can send it as an email. I can share it with a group, and that's within the system. So like I talked about being able to share with my team, I can choose what team, if I'm on multiple, what that looks like. So I can share it out. I can make changes. I can delete programs if maybe one closes or maybe one changes and I don't want to send people there anymore. Anything like that, I can do that here. I can also print this out. The way that I've seen this used the best, I live in a very rural area, and we actually found out in our area that something the churches were doing was using this, creating their favorites list, and then printing it out so that they could hand it when they went to visit homebound seniors. So because all of our programs, if they have phone numbers or anything, it would be contacts for those seniors who were either very rural and didn't get out much, if at all, or were totally homebound because of medical reasons or anything, that they could still have that feeling of being able to contact medical help or other social service agencies themselves, they had that list that they can consult, right? It was a really great feeling. And FindHelp is sort of a tech company, so like we love being able to send it as an email and being able to text it to somebody. But at the end of the day, being able to put a piece of paper in somebody's hand is also important in a lot of cases. So we really want to make sure that this information is available how people need it, when people need it, like anyway, anytime. So I want to show you guys, I briefly mentioned this, talking about the domestic violence survivor situation and how we kind of help protect people in those situations. So you see here, there's employment training, and you see this teal button says refer. So when I'm signed in and I'm working as a organization helping refer people, this button is going to say refer, so that I know that I'm going to send somebody to another organization, right? I'm going to send this information out. So again, this is one of the few times that we're going to be asking for information, because obviously, it is pretty important that if I'm sending someone to another organization, I'm sending relevant details. So you can see I've got my name here. If I've helped someone before, their information is going to stay in with me, right? It's not a whole network thing. The way we handle referrals is very sort of siloed. So if I am sending someone to, say this employment training, I know the employment training people know, and the person being sent know, but no other organizations are going to be privy to that unless that seeker lets them in on it, right? So I'll type in, I have my good friend Dewey help them, and it will autofill with the information that Dewey's provided me before, right? So first name, last name, and an email. So this is what I was mentioning in the best way to reach them. So there's email, text message, phone call. There is also the option for don't reach out. And what that looks like in practice is, in these sort of sensitive situations where we know that it might actually be dangerous for an organization to reach out to this person, right? We want to make sure we can have an option to mention that, and a comment space where ideally, if I was sending this information, in a domestic violence situation or, what have you, I can actually add a full comment and explain what's happening and explain what we kind of expect to happen, right? So if I'm sending someone's information to a domestic violence service, I might say, don't reach out, and then add a comment sort of explaining some of the situation and say, hey, I have instructed this person to reach out when it is safe to you all, right? It's more of just a heads up for that organization. If I mark do not reach out, just so that they're expecting them. So, and what that can be is, if I mark don't reach out and, say this person, Dewey or whoever, doesn't reach out to that second organization, this other organization can see in the system that nothing was ever updated. They can contact me and say, hey, what's happening? It provides that paper trail a little bit while being very secure, being very safe, so that there is some follow-up that's able to happen without it being broadcast or like endangering anyone. So I just wanted to highlight that, because I thought that was an excellent question earlier, and I wanted to make sure that that was mentioned. So I'll mention this very briefly because we're coming up on time, and I want to make sure we have time for any questions or anything. But the people I'm helping tab is where I personally can keep track of if I've referred someone to another organization, just like I was talking about, I can kind of see where they're at. And especially if I'm in a situation, as some of our property managers will probably be, if I'm in a situation where I'm referring someone, say to a food pantry and to addiction services, I can see those two referrals separately. I can kind of get a feel for, are they following through on some of this, right? Which is great. And I can really help track. And that's a big part of sort of what this program is that there's follow through, right? We can track who's going where. Are we doing what we need to be doing? Are tenants, are public going to meetings? Are they reaching out to people that they need to reach out to? And on the other side, are the organizations responding? Do we have enough capacity? There are a lot of people who need help nowadays. This helps kind of measure that. And for NIFA, that's a lot of great detail, a lot of great information that they can have. And for you all in organizations, when you claim your programs and you can see these referrals, that's a great way to keep track of how many people are getting referred, where are they coming from, who's sending them to you, and then be able to take that to funding sources, right? To be able to write grants and say, hey, we are experiencing a lot of searches for this particular need, or we're getting a lot of people sent to us. We've had this many blah 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 in the last. It's a great way to kind of keep tabs on everything, and yeah, it's just a really great way to help connect the dots for people. So. Looks like one Q&A. Steve says map GPS feature is excellent. Thank you, Steve. I really appreciate that. I am in the same boat. I'm a data nerd. Like I said, librarian. You might be expected. I love that. One point that comes up occasionally, especially for more rural areas, is that the map will show your zip code, and it bases the search off of the center of that zip code. So in more urban areas, the zip code might be a little bit smaller, and using the map, you should be able to see where things are. You'll be a little bit closer. In more spread out areas, the center of that zip code might be a little bit farther away than where you are personally. So it's a bit of it's just a thing of how our search is handled, right? Because we don't use like geolocation or anything to hone in on exactly where people are. Again, because of, privacy and security, we don't want to just zoom in on somebody. But just keep that in mind. Just tuck that away somewhere in the back of your mind. So let me go back real quick. We'll just say, if anybody, if you're doing searches, remember to create your favorites folder. Super great. Love that. Used it all the time. I forgot to mention, you can keep personal notes once you've created an account. Those are for your own use. So if you want to just highlight, maybe you really liked working with someone in an organization, you can mention their name as a note for yourself or your team. I showed you guys the referral process and how we work to kind of keep that secure and keep that information, safe and discreet. People I'm helping and those inbound referrals. And this is just a quick bird's eye view of what we have available for community organizations as far as, claiming that program. We have screeners and can create those unique referral processes. All kinds of neat analytics are available, like I was mentioning, being able to keep track of a lot of this and being able to add all of your teammates. So you can really make it what you need it to be. So would highly recommend anybody who hasn't already, check out that claims link, get that done if you're a community organization. If you're one of our housing authorities, we'll be in touch. If you're excited about it, love to hear it. But we'll be rolling that out and getting everything listed and the trainings done here before too long. I'll go ahead and stop sharing. So if anyone has questions, comments, concerns, John, anything you wanted to add?
Thank you, Roger. And I can say from personal experience, it is easy to suggest a change in a program. I've done that a few times and get an email right away, and usually another one shortly after saying we've made the change, and then it'll be reflected in the next 48 hours. I've talked to some, many communities across Nebraska have seasoned experts. Some of them have gone on and looked and said, I noticed, hey, this program doesn't have a food pantry anymore, so can we make that change? But we appreciate all that expertise so we can make this site as vital and helpful as possible. But I appreciate your time, Roger. I don't know, Yasiel, do you want to hop on here and see if there's any final comments you want to make? I just want to respect people's time, and I know usually people start dropping off at 11.
Oh no, I just want to say that thank you so much, Roger, for an amazing presentation, as well as John. We have really enjoyed, and we continue to work with John in the NIFA team to improve and kind of like customize the site to add programs, properties that are really relevant to the work that you guys do. And so if you guys have any questions, regarding the platform, you can, reach out to John as well as to Roger and myself. If you want to, if you're really interested in training your staff, perhaps at your property or your organization, we're always willing and wanting to also provide that support.
That's great. Thank you. We're getting some good props in the chat. That's always good to see. Excellent resource to have available, great information. Excited to have this platform available. Wonderful tool. Yeah, and that's the goal. We really look forward to helping Nebraskans find resources, and also, like I mentioned at the beginning, having those resources for property managers, because I know their tenants struggle sometimes, and just have this toolbox available. I see, it looks like we got all the questions answered, and we're just getting the props in the chat. It is 11:02. Just want to make sure, getting some thank yous. Like we said, this will be available on our YouTube channel, NIFA Housing. It'll be available on our website. You can find the link there. It's NIFA.org under Community Development Trainings and Webinars. Definitely thank you, Roger. Thank you, Asil. Thanks everyone for joining today. And keep your eyes open for our Facebook page and Instagram, and because we're always coming up with new webinar topics. And if you have any ideas, let us know. Any final comments, guys?
No, just super. Right. Thank you for having us and for the time. Yeah, appreciate it.
Okay. Thanks a lot, everybody. Have a great day.